All right, welcome in everybody to another Fantasy Football Gurus podcast. Today we're going to be talking trades. Um, I guess the first one that happened in a recent league we play in, we'll get it right out of the way. It is a 10-team league, start 9, so a more shallow league. Right
Yep.
before we started the rookie draft, the 101 was traded for Juju Smith-Schuster. Um, the 3.09, Alan Lazard, and Aaron Jones.
Yep.
Um, so, do you maybe want to explain how that trade came to be? Maybe any other offers? Maybe what you were going for?
Yeah, so right off the bat, I was thinking, all right, I have third round pick, and that's it, right? I traded my first and my second last year. My team is a little bit on the older side, and where I definitely needed help is the running back position. That killed me most of the year, besides the tight end stuff I had going on too. But really, what was killing me is the running back spot. Now, this year wasn't looking that great either with the running back stuff going on throughout the league. I was like, all right, how can I get a top spot? And if I can get a top spot, maybe trade back because I didn't really want Bijan, and we can get into that in a little bit. Um, so I just hit up the 101 Kobe. I was like, hey, well, what's it gonna take? And all he's like was like, hey, send me your best offer. so So I sent him that exact offer that he accepted, and that was it. He didn't like fight it on it or anything like that. He just accepted it. I thought it was like a starting value type of stuff, and we'll move on from there. Even then, I was kind of back and forth on when I sent it anyway, just because Aaron Jones was kind of a sure thing, right? I think he's pretty consistent. A lot of people don't like him. He's middle of the road as far as age goes. I think he's still got a year or two before contract-wise, but I don't think he's going to be one of those running backs that is trying to go for that gigantic contract for Green Bay. Juju, I wasn't huge on him anyway this year. Just being in New England, I'm not as high on Mac Jones anymore as I was his rookie year. But people say, hey, it's his prove it year, so he's gonna try to make a splash. So I was like, all right, I can try to get rid of Juju. People are valuing him pretty high. The one that hurt the most was Alan Lazard. I'm giving away a lot of my wide receiver depth, but I'm really, really high on my wide receivers that I got, obviously, because I got Cooper Kupp and JJ. Great. But Alan Lazard is perfect depth worth, right, for at least the next 2 years with Aaron Rodgers, because as long as Aaron Rodgers is there, Alan Lazard is there, and he's going to be a really good option there. But I was like, I need to spice this up, obviously. It's the first pick. So threw those guys in there, and he accepted it. I didn't want to do too much more because my train of thought and thinking was like, all right, I'm getting a unproven but should be good rookie running back, right? We'll see, but should be really good. But I'm also giving away technically 4, but really 3 proven good and quality veteran options, right? As far as depth or even starter mentality, right? Because Aaron Jones and, to me, Lazard was going to be starting on my squad. Now, when it went through, obviously, there was a little bit of a back and forth, right? Eric was like, he sent that little gif, and then you hit me
Well,
up.
yeah,
All right.
and I can see from his perspective that it looked a little suspicious. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, and then too, I mean, I did get JJ from Colby too earlier this year.
Right. So you're
so
putting two and two together. Yeah.
yeah. But then you even hit me up. It was like, hey, maybe we need to add a couple picks to this later. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Because to me, it's like, man, I gave away my depth. and now I'm gonna have to give away even more picks. I was like, I just wanted Gibbs. Nobody wanted to trade back for anything good. I got a couple offers that weren't really all that great. One of them that you might have took was Ramondre Stevenson and a second for that 101. I thought about it, but I was like, ugh. Yeah.
No, 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 no.
Um, I thought about it for a second, but I was like, I'll just take Gibbs. Like I said, I'm not huge on Bijan right now. He kind of needs to prove it for me. I like Gibbs. I like Gibbs' situation. Even when I messaged you, I was like, ugh, Gibbs or Bijan, right? Because when you have that first overall, you kind of need to make the right pick. But that's really what I wanted to give was just the 4, and that was it. Otherwise, it would have been too expensive to me. I would have just taken the flyer on the 3rd and rolled it out with who I had. But yeah, your thought mentality and all that when it was going through.
Yeah, so I guess I'll start off talking like for the actual 101 pick, because I do value that higher than Jameer Gibbs. I guess we can get into
Yeah.
why later, but so again, I like to look at it in terms of a startup. So right, the 101 that'd be like worth a late first. Jones in a 10-man is like a 7th round guy.
Yep.
Because the thing with a 10-team league versus a 12-team league, you can be a little older in a 10-team league and be okay.
Yeah.
Just because the guys on waiver can still at least do some. And again, this is only start 9, shallow, super flex. So anyways, yeah, going through, right, it would have been like a late first for a 7th, 11th, 12th, and then like, a late third, so like a 20th or something. Who cares?
Yep.
And yeah, at first I was like, I mean, you put it on the trade block, and it's like, you could just turn this around and get, like Chris Olave or something, or just sell it for whatever. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's worth like a late first in a startup because that's kind of that's where Bijan's ADP is.
Yep.
Um, I would rather take him over Gibbs. I like Gibbs a lot. And again, this is like a whole topic itself. When just like talking about running back tiers, no one says this, but in my opinion, in a league with less starters, shallower again, this is only 10 teams, start 9. I'm more picky about each player, where
Mm-hmm.
I'm less picky, and I feel like the tiers are wider in a
Yep.
big 12 team. Like, yeah, I feel like in other leagues, yeah, Gibbs and Bijan, in my opinion, there isn't that big a difference if I can get Gibbs plus some kind of extra pick or something.
Yep.
I do feel like in a smaller league, you got to be more picky. I see Bijan having a great season. Again, they were the number 1 offense a year ago, and now you're throwing in a running back that just went 8th overall. And sure, I may like Brees Hall a little bit more.
Sure.
Um, but, months ago when we were doing the rankings, Bijan was number 2 on my dynasty. He wasn't number 2 for nothing. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that for me. So, again, then when you went Gibbs, then it's like you're paying to upgrade. You're paying to get a younger Aaron Jones.
Yep.
Um, I don't see too big a difference between what Aaron Jones will do this year and Gibbs. Um, and I mean, that's something we can debate too. I
Yeah.
know, yeah, a month from now, the first Thursday night game of the year when they have David Montgomery, the Lions are in the red zone and they have David Montgomery on the field instead of Gibbs. That's what I think is going to happen.
Yep.
And that's all the talk is two-headed monster, and David Montgomery is going to be that kind of guy. So obviously, when you're not in the red zone, you're not going to be scoring touchdowns unless it's real long runs. But we'll see
Yep.
how many of those. And then my other concern is if the Lions do get a big lead in the game, and they're not going to be throwing as much. Gibbs is known as that passer. How much
Yep.
is he even going to be in the game? So, yeah, I guess that's my hesitation with him over Bijan.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like I was even back and forth on that because if I wanted that true runner, right? Because I know you're higher on Ritter than I am too, especially. Um, it's more of like if they're running a lot, he has more chance to get hurt, like Brees Hall. Rather than with Gibbs, there's a solid team around him. Maybe he won't get a ton of reps right away his rookie season. I'm hoping, obviously, he will because of the price I had to pay. But it's kind of the long play, right? That's what you have to think of with Dynasty. Now, as far as like with the startup, with Aaron Jones is like a 7, blah blah blah. I feel like the valuation is a little bit different when you hit years 2, 3, and 4 because then it's more about what your team needs and the value of that player at that current time versus where they would be in a startup. Right now, I didn't think it was very smart for Colby to go after that wide receiver depth when he already technically has wide receiver depth.
Yeah.
he needed running back depth, even though he said he didn't. So I thought that was not the smartest play. But he's got the consistency with the Aaron Jones, and I think he's got Swift as well. But that's kind of it. That's all he has. So that maybe not the smartest play on him as far as that, but it's you have to look at your team and it's what it needs and what you can sacrifice for your bench or taxi or what have you, right? And for me, I was looking at it as, hey, I can sacrifice these 3 pieces, even though I really like these pieces. Why I have them on my team. I just need a rookie running back. So I guess that's how I kind of think of it a little different. I wasn't really thinking, hey, this is like a 7, 13, 15, whatever, and a 20, and I need a 2 or a 3 or whatever. So I think that's where like the thinking is different versus in like a dynasty versus startup in other years. But yeah, I don't know.
I think it's a good way to like translate trades, looking at startups. But then
Yeah.
again, you went Gibbs, so it's more like right, like a third. Again, you paid to get a younger Aaron Jones.
Yep.
Why did I say that? I mean, you look at redrafts, ADP, what people think of him, and right, Gibbs is like a third rounder, Jones is like a fourth rounder. So not not too big a difference
Yeah.
in redraft.
Would you
Yeah.
have would you have not been as okay with it if I went Bijan then? If
Right. Then we kind of got a problem. Because I mean, I know I would have did that trade. I would have did both my third rounders,
Yeah.
whatever 2 receivers. Because I would have had to rely on Quentin Johnson, but then okay, I can sell
Yep.
one of my running backs for a receiver. Um, so yeah, again, it would take an injury. I mean, we can place a bet on it right now. I bet Bijan. We can look at for the total season scores more fantasy points than Gibbs, or averages more per game in case there is an injury.
I have to
But
think
anyway,
about it. Well,
while
because
you're thinking,
here's my
I would
thing
take
with.
Bijan on the average per game.
Well, yeah. Well, because I do think Atlanta's going to run more. It's just I think he has a higher percentage chance to get hurt versus Gibbs, right? Um, that and so many people are so high on David Montgomery. He is ass. he is not as good as everybody thinks he is. But he just gets praised every single year when we're going into fantasy football. Oh,
Yeah.
David Montgomery this, David Montgomery that.
Yeah.
As soon as he starts playing, it's where's David Montgomery? Oh, he's sitting on the bench. There's a reason.
Yeah.
This is what his third team or something like that, or is this still a second? Because I know he was with
Yeah.
the
He was
Bears,
just with
but
the Bears.
I feel
But
like it was his
every
third
year he
team.
scored less, basically.
Yeah. So while as much as I hate to say it, I think the Lions are going to be very good this year. I don't think David Montgomery is going to be that great. Maybe it finally clicks for him, but I doubt it. Um, I don't know if I really want to take that just because of how much Atlanta's going to run, and I don't know if Goff gets hurt, then fucking all the Lions will be able to do is run. But I think
Yeah.
with Gibbs too, with what they're saying, is he's going to be not only as a running back, but he's also going to be a receiver. So it's going to maybe the rushing yards aren't going to be there, but the receiving yards are going to be there. Which is very valuable in a PPR league because I get a point every time he touches that fucking ball.
Yeah.
So there is that too. So that was kind of my mentality play of it. Um, so and look, maybe this is the curse of the go at trading. I'm just throwing shit out there and seeing what sticks.
Yeah.
I thought it was just a starting thing. I was like, he accepted it. I was like, and like the thing I have a problem with people with trading and stuff like that. Like, don't be an idiot when you're playing fantasy football and actually think about the trades before you just accept it. But I was thinking about this the other day. When we were doing the players only podcast one, and the dude said he accidentally accepted it because a bunch of people were trashing the trade. Dude, you accepted it. You thought it was good. You hit accept. Trade went through. Now you were nice enough to redo it back or whatever, but to me, it's like you're the idiot.
Yeah.
you
And
know?
that's something we'll want to talk about too. It's like if that was a money league, then I feel like we got
Yeah.
to be a little bit stricter about the rules. And hey, you got to double check what you're doing. Free league,
Yep.
well, whatever. Just have your pickbacks. I don't want to hear you bitch. That's just kind
Yeah.
of my thing.
Oh yeah. No, and like for the people watching next year, we're doing a lot of more of the money league stuff, and we'll have information on that later on. But no, it's we got to come up with strict rules of everything, and also the no stupid things, and then obviously the vetoes and stuff like that as far as trade stuff. I mean, obviously with money leagues, we'll have a lot more parameters around things
And like
when it
before
comes
people
down.
pay, it'll be all listed out. Here's the rules. And right,
Yeah,
yeah.
right. So, and then and then from there it's going to be kind of you don't like the trade, just veto it type of thing. We don't have that in this league because I'm sure it would have been vetoed.
Yeah, whatever. But
but
here's my thing. Do you bottom line, do you think again, this is someone new, never played fantasy football, fantasy any sports. Do you think if you had the 101 and you sold it, do you think you could have gotten more?
oh, 100%. Well,
Well,
hold on.
exactly.
Could have gotten more versus would have gotten more though, because the offers I was getting for 101 were way worse than what I gave Colby. I gave Colby a way better deal than anything he would have gotten from anybody else if he wanted to trade that pick away. So who knows? Maybe he would have taken a worse pick. Because I was getting some bad picks, bad trade options and stuff like that too. Now, I definitely took advantage of Colby earlier in the year with the JJ stuff. I'll
Yeah.
gladly say that one. But I mean, but that also comes with like we'll give him the pass with like the new stuff. But I mean, did I get hosed a little bit with the Derek Carr trade?
Oh,
Yeah, but
in
like
retrospect, yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know,
Because
but
Derek Carr in a startup, right? He's worth like a tenth.
right,
And
I'd
two
give him
firsts
two
are like
first.
two fives.
Right.
So yeah, it's yeah.
You know, and maybe even
Even
at the time we would have said I got hosed on it, but it's like I need to make the playoff push, so I'm giving anything I need
yeah,
to make that playoff push for the Super Bowl. So it was, I don't care,
yeah.
you know. So
So yeah,
it's
it's kind
different
of timing.
mentalities at
Yeah,
different times, you
yeah.
know. Um.
And even
So
the Tua trade a little bit.
yeah,
Um, you know, people in the league, Eric, offers a first all the time for him. And
right,
who even
yeah,
knows what I gave up for that? Some tight ends. And that's some too. In this 10-man league, I'm done. I'm done with storing tight ends. I'm just gonna have Kyle
yep,
Pitts, and I'll just whoever's a you know use the waiver wire if he goes down or something. I don't think tight
yeah.
end really does anything. The guy that won last year had Dalton Schultz, who finished tight end 11, not even tight end 10. So
Right.
no, I'm done giving a shit about tight ends.
Yeah, I was thinking about it the same way too because I'm looking at my squad as like there's people I want on waiver wire, but just a couple months ago, we traded. I got Taysom Hill, uh, and I gave you a third. Well, now there's four tight ends in New Orleans, and that third is kind of wasted if I just drop him right now. So he's only still on my team just because I hate to basically take him off my team for literally nothing.
So I guess
He's not gonna play.
bottom line with this video, Austin kind of fires from the hips. Some of the trades are spot on. Some of them are way off.
Yeah. Well, that's well, yeah. The thing that I love about fantasy football is the trading, right? And like the stats stuff too, and being engaged with your team and blah blah blah. But like the main, you know, and I went into the draft too with the same mentality. I knew I was going to get a first this year. I didn't know I was going to get two, and we can talk about that second trade here in a second. Um, but I knew I was going to at least try to get a first. I already have an idea of how I'm going to get a first next year too. It's got a long shot, and you're probably going to be pissed because if I could do what I'm thinking, but I'll get a first next year as well. Um,
let's yeah, let's talk about the other trade and then we'll wrap up the video. So
yep,
it was the 109 for 25 first and two thirds, one in 24,
yep.
one in 25, or was both the thirds and 25?
Nope, 24 and 25.
Okay.
And you and I were kind of, well, I think at this point we had already kind of finished arguing, and you were good with that last trade at this point. But I wanted to like check in because I felt like this was too far. Um, I was fine with that first trade right off the bat, but this one, um, when Will sent it to me, I was like, now, now I think I'm taking advantage a little too much on a newbie. Because I don't know, for me personally, if I had the first, I don't want to wait 2 years for this extra first, and then a third in a rookie draft is so. I mean, we saw it today because at this point, our draft just ended, and the people in the third round is just so you know dartboards.
Yeah.
Um, now there's a couple sneaky picks when you get to that third round. Like I really like Muhammad Ibrahim, just in case of injury wise and what people are saying, but he's not even going in these 3 rounds. I just snagged him up off a waiver. Um, he's one of my sneakiest picks of all of drafting, period, because nobody's taken him ever. But the third round is just so kind of irrelevant with rookies for the most part. So I guess what are your thoughts on that? Because I felt like I kind of smoked them a little bit.
So right, the third round, first off, that's for like taxi squad. If your taxi squad is already full, again, we're talking 10 team leagues, because 12 team leagues, you'll at least have the guy sit there, whatever, for years, and you'll have space. But in this league, we got 5 taxi spots. So if your taxi is full, then right, they really aren't worth anything, because these are guys that are multiple injuries away from playing, or just real low on the depth chart. Not worth really having in your starting lineup or on your bench. So yeah, that'd be the first thing. But then the actual trade. So kind of talked about it in the Superflex video. In my opinion, after the 8th pick, there is a drop off. I like Zay Flowers, but in Baltimore with Lamar, how much work is he really going to get? You got Odell, other guys there. I know you drafted Kincaid, but my opinion, he is 9. Again, unless there is a tight end premium or 2 tight end league or something, then for sure Kincaid. If Kincaid's not already off the board, but yeah, I mean, right, he's kind of my 9. It's I don't know. I don't feel too strongly, but I'd be nervous starting him week in and week out. Zay, I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I guess back to your trade. He traded 25 first for Dalton Kincaid, number 1 tight end, when you already have Kelsey. So yeah, I mean, I don't think it was bad.
Right.
I mean, I'll say on the other side, if I'm trying to sell the 109, which I would do, I spam out to people first. Hey, take this for a 24 first, because waiting an extra year sucks.
Yep.
But if you already have a full roster, what's the point in having Zay or Zach Charbonnet or whoever you would have taken there. If you're not going to do anything, one of the big name tight ends. So I like trading the pick. Would have liked it more if it was a 24 first. And then on the other side, I just feel like Kincaid can only give you so much value, because I already came out and said I'm done with tight ends. I'm gonna have my one main tight end, and then I'll use the bench for a backup. Like, for example, right now, Tyler Conklin is a freaking he's on the waiver wire, and whatever, after this video, after we're done recording, you want to go and pick him up because I'm talking about him, go for it. I don't care. But it's like, the dude was the 16th overall tight end last year, and he's getting an upgrade at quarterback. Zach Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, big upgrade. So as long as he stays healthy, I see him doing really well. But yeah, that just kind of shows to me that the floor is just not that low at tight end. So
and I think it'd be a little different too if this league had the tight end premium. Then we're having a different conversation. For me, my mentality of it, I think in the short-term play, Zay Flowers or Charbonnet would have been the better pick there. Just because of the running back depth. I still need it, obviously. But I got that rookie, so we'll hold tight. The wide receiver, I do need depth now because obviously I gave away my depth. So maybe that would have been a smarter pick short term. But what I'm thinking is, hey, Kelsey, as much as you love him, as much as he's the best tight end in the league, he is still getting old. One injury could, who knows, end his career. Maybe he won't look the same the following year, whatever. I'd rather have somebody who could be a very, very good tight end and possibly a top end of that tight end pool, but on the rookie side. Um, and I was willing to pay to take the risk, right? And that's what I love about like the draft and especially the rookies. When I'm drafting rookies, is a lot of it is just you're guessing for the most part, but it's also the flip of the coin because it could be somebody great. You know, nobody thought Kareem Hunt for his rookie year was going to be as good as he was his rookie year. Now, unfortunately, that didn't transfer
Right.
over the next couple of years after all the controversy. But I mean, lights out rookie. You know, a little different situation, different position, whatever. But hey, you know, he's got Josh Allen at quarterback, so I'm hoping for something a little special. Um, so you know, it's a we'll see, right? It's a poker play. Um,
Yeah, no, I
but
think Kincaid will be really good. I just,
yeah,
I in our 10 in a league with no tight end premium, I'm never drafting a tight end in the first round.
no,
Clip
for
it.
sure. Well, and think of it too. You took Kelsey what like round 10 or something like that
or
last year.
last year round 5, and then Waller was round 8.
Yeah, so I mean look, that was pretty. It's late. I mean, obviously it's the age factor, obviously in a startup.
Yeah.
Um, but then I guess this kind of leads into the overall point of this video, right? Is the trade valuation because you and I traded. There's a lot more pieces to this, obviously, but I had Kyle Pitts and you had Kelsey. I wanted Kelsey, you wanted Pitts, and we swapped. Um, a lot more players were obviously in this trade. It was a massive, like, 8-person trade. Uh, but it's mainly those were the main pieces at the end of the day. You know, obviously Hollywood was in there too, but yeah, no, it's all about kind of first year's a little bit more sticklerish, but once you get to 2, 3, or 4, it's what do you value? Um, what does your team need versus what are you giving away? Type of thing. I think that's how you need to start looking at it. Not necessarily where are these people on a draft normally, because I think you get stuck in that bubble that maybe you're gonna handcuff yourself to rebuilding almost every single year and so on. So,
Yeah.
uh, and which you need to be careful with because you don't want to be rebuilding for too long because that person might win, like for us, 3 championships in the league's done before you actually have a crazy good team.
Right.
So, and that's where I think that you kind of come into play and are real smart about it because you kind of ride that line a little bit, right? Yeah, we have the one that you're in a full rebuild, but otherwise, you're in a half and half. You have a team that could be in a rebuild mode, but is also going to be super competitive too, and could hit you on really good strides. Um,
Yeah.
so you got to find that line, and I'm all in on this one league, and I'm on that line
Yeah.
ish in one league. So
No, yeah, no, I guess my thinking too after playing in other leagues and then going back and looking at our 10-team league, um, I think again since age really isn't a biggest factor because just more guys are available to a 10-team league versus other ones like not having first or just picks in general isn't as bad as or like if you had like in the other league, Liam,
yep,
no picks for 2 years. Like I would rather have no picks in a 10-team league
yep,
than in a deep 12-team league with more starters. Because just in a couple of years you're gonna be fucked.
yep,
It's all gonna be guys that might not even be on a roster versus um, again in the 10-team league still good waiver wires because bench isn't as deep, not as many starters, especially a
yep.
running back. As injuries start to pile up, or a guy like Josh Jacobs holds out, and you just have Zamir White, like kind of what I'm doing there. Um, yeah, I just feel like you can ride it out without picks in a 10-team league a whole lot better than a deep 12-team league.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of leading into that a little bit, if you guys have like questions or anything, feel free to ask away because especially in just these main three dynasties that we're doing currently, and we'll have hopefully more here this month too. Um, for the most part, with all three, you and I have extremely different teams, almost in all three. I know I do, especially in one league, I have quite a bit of picks, but I also have a really good squad. And this one that we've been talking about, I have 0 picks, and I have a very top end heavy squad,
Yeah.
right? And then the other one is kind of the Gurus one is kind of the in between, right? I have a couple picks, but I also have a really good squad there as well too. So it's
Well, I got
you know
one last thing to say. Again, kind of with the picks and like in a 10-team league, trading them all away is better than a 12-team league. Like I remember like I don't know, end of last season or around the Super Bowl, just thinking like, oh man, if you don't win, you're just fucked. But it's like,
yeah, yes
like
and no.
these guys after the season, there'll still be some value. Like Kelsey tears an ACL, as long as he's coming back to play football, there'll still be some value. There'll be someone that'll give you like a second if you're trying to get rid
Yep.
of him, for example. Um, and then right with a second, can you get another tight end or something usable? Yeah. Same thing with your receivers. I kind of forgot where I was going with this, but it was
Like
just
Cooper Cup,
I
he's
don't
getting old.
yeah I don't
Um,
think you're as screwed as what I thought before, especially as long as
yeah,
people like do something with picks that aren't until 25, 26, 27. Um, yeah, then you got hope.
yeah, and like for those that have been watching, I have a different mentality to picks than Vince does, right? For me, it's I would prefer to win now, and then I'll figure out the pick stuff later. That's why I love the trading and stuff like that factor. But at the same time, though, too, if you hold on to those picks and you have a decent team, get an injury, you can trade those picks for a piece that you need, like I tried to do last year. It didn't work out for me very well, but uh, it's a really good strategy to play, and I like that strategy a lot. The only thing is, then kind of where I'm at, I have no picks, but I have a really solid team. Um, so it's you have to find that line and where you want to be on that line, and just know, hey, Dynasty's a long haul, so you take those risks. You might screw yourself for 2 years.
Right,
And at this
right.
at this point, in that league in particular, I better win this year. Otherwise, I am screwed.
But that being said, like the biggest screw job is in. I don't want to say who, but it's in the best ball league, the players only podcast league. where, where what like his first five of his first six picks were guys older than us. Like,
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
long haul if it doesn't work out. If things go
Especially when you don't
south.
have the picks to back you up. See, and that's the thing though too. Especially with the best ball, if you go and you draft those older guys, you better keep your picks because you're gonna need rookies later. Even if it's the back end of the rookies, because that person in particular, I think he has a real good shot of winning this year. But that's about it.
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna win next year, and I definitely don't think he'll win that third one.
Yeah, right.
Uh,
Then it's rebuild time, and
and
tough to rebuild without picks and,
exactly.
and guys that
Especially
are
when it's
hurt
something deep.
because or older. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
That's all I truly
yeah.
had.
I think talked about the first round picks. Yeah, we'll wrap it up here. Again, if you want to talk fantasy, join the Discord. Actually, just before recording this, I saw someone asked some kind of question I'll respond to quick. And yeah, otherwise, if you want to play us, ask questions, hop in. The link will be below. Peace out.
Awesome.